Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. We are so glad that all of you are here today. And for anyone who is brand new to this call, a very, very special welcome to you. And of course, hello to everyone catching the replay on YouTube. Or maybe you're on TikTok right now watching us because we are also live on TikTok with Tuesday Notary Titans. We're just checking it out today and seeing how that goes for us. Okay, let me.
Hey, Jen, real quick before you go, I can't
Yes.
shut off the waiting room for some reason, so you need to do that. Otherwise, we're gonna have to keep letting people in.
Those
Sorry, everybody.
rules.
Well, we
It's
might.
Oh yeah,
closed.
won't let me do it either.
Huh.
That's okay, I'll
Sorry.
watch
Sorry,
it.
sorry.
Will somebody watch that? Because you
Sure.
know what? It's not letting me do it either. I don't know what I did wrong there, but I'm sure it was something.
Okay, back to the show.
Back to the show. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know, Jen. Um, okay. Um, this is TNT. This is the nation's longest running free coaching program for notaries. So imagine, if you will, a mastermind room full of experienced professionals and curious learners, all here to help each other succeed. That's what you're stepping into today. TNT is like the play by play of the notary business. We are here live every single week to break down the plays, celebrate the wins, and coach you on the strategies that keep you moving forward. So, how we do that is by taking your questions live. And now is the time to start raising your hand to get in line to have your questions answered. And you could do that by raising your digital hand at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or you can go into the More section to find the raised hand functions. It may also be under reactions. While you're getting in line to have your questions answered, I want to go over a few announcements. If you haven't heard, I wrote a book, and I need you guys to buy it, and I need you even more than that to review it. This is the 5 point marketing system in book form. So if you have ever wondered, what is Jen's 5 point marketing system about? This book is going to tell you every little detail about it. Jen is going to put the links for the hardback and the Kindle version in the chat for you. I also want to remind you guys that, believe it or not, we are already talking about the NNA conference coming up in May 3 through 5, 2026. You can get your tickets at the link in the chat. Payment plans are available if you purchase before November 24th. And the early bird price runs through January 29th. Full pass early bird price is $750. So if you secure that payment plan before November 24th, the down payment is only $195, followed by 5 payments of $111 for a total of $750 for the early bird pricing, which, like I said, ends in January. Now, one of the two incredible people that support this call is Jen Cooper, and she has a notary workshop coming up in Selma. Jen, can you tell us about this call really quick?
Yeah, it's a live workshop in Selma, California, which is in the Central Valley of California on Saturday, October 18th. It's an in-person notary workshop where we're going to learn, grow, and connect. It's hands-on with multiple workshop sessions, networking, lunch, and giveaways. Our final ticket price for the rest of the time from now until the conference is $75. So you guys can click the link I just put in the chat and get your tickets now and come down and visit and see us and see Laura and see Matt because we'll
I
all be there.
know, I'm so jealous. I am going to have FOMO that day so badly that I can't be there. But thanks for sharing, Jen. And it's a great opportunity for an in-person workshop if you are in the Central Valley of California. Now,
For
this call would
California.
not be possible without my fabulous, wonderful, amazing co-host and notary bestie, Laura Bewer. So how are you doing today, Laura?
I am super fine.
Awesome. I know it looks like you are teaching out there in California today. You have a special video series that you have just recently released on your website, coachmelora.com. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, guys. If you want to focus on purposeful practice or deliberate practice, here's your opportunity. I have 33 videos that take the next step. Some of you may own Laura Bewer or LBP already. Those were the intro level, and they were really more focused on specialty work itself. These videos also have deliberate practice or purposeful practice built in. So we build our skills. And that is on my website at, for those of you on TikTok, coachmelora.com. You'll find it there, advanced specialty notary videos. And there is a special coupon for you guys. So in the chat, we'll put it for everybody on the call, coached. And if you're on, what is that called? TikTok. The
TikTok, yeah.
TikTok.
The
If you're on the
TikTok.
TikTok, it's coached
Yes, coachmelora.com forward slash
website. Yeah.
the coupon code for $48 off is
Mhm.
coached, and that's awesome. And if you are joining us on TikTok, hello, we're so glad you guys are here. If you are interested in registering for this call, please go to marketingfornotaries.com forward slash TNT, and you'll get the link every week. Okay. Now, you also know, guys, that every month we have our other co-host, the fabulous Matt Miller with the California League of Independent Notaries, give us a legislative update. And he is going to be wrapping up the year with legislative updates on this call. So, Matt, welcome. Thank you for being here. And we are so excited to hear about your current legislative updates.
Well, thanks, Jen, and thanks everyone for stopping by today. As Jen mentioned, we are getting towards the end of a legislative session, so there is not much new going to happen between now and the end of the year. But there are a few new laws that you should be aware of. First up, we are going to talk about Montana. So in Montana, they had two sister bills regarding motor vehicle titles. So in Montana, if an applicant for a certificate of title cannot provide the motor vehicle division of the Department of Justice with the certificate of title that assigns the prior owner's interest in the vehicle or trailer or camper or sailboat or snowmobile, etc., the department may issue a certificate of title if the applicant submits an affidavit that meets the requirements of the law as specified in Montana Code Annotated 613208. Now, until the enactment of House Bill 165, that affidavit had to be subscribed and sworn to before an officer authorized to administer oaths and affirmations, and most times that was a notary public. House Bill 165, however, removes the notarization requirement for these vehicle transfers. The new law also removes the notarization requirement for voluntary vehicle transfers between individuals as well. Thus, Montana, being one of the last holdouts requiring vehicle titles to be notarized, joins most other states in no longer requiring notarization of vehicle titles. This bill was touted as a way to make it easier for people in the rural Montana to transfer vehicles, given that a notary may be more difficult to find than in most other places. It was also seen as a step forward in making vehicle transfers paperless. And then after the enactment of House Bill 165, the legislature also passed and the governor approved Senate Bill 380, which was a sister bill. However, this bill left the acknowledgement requirement intact for vehicle title transfers between individuals in the Montana code, and the same subsection repealed in its entirety by House Bill 165. So in Montana, no more vehicle transfers or titles to any kind of vehicle or trailer of that sort require notarization. And this is the same in many states, including California. That does sound like a lost opportunity, but there are so many other opportunities for Montana notaries to fill the void. Moving along to Nevada, Nevada Bill 227. The portions of the bill that are most interesting to us as notaries are those which provide for the notarization of consents and relinquishments of adoption, as well as affidavits related to the relinquishments, surrendering an adoptive placement, and voiding relinquishments. This bill took effect upon passage and the approval for the purpose of adopting regulations and performing other preparatory administrative tasks that are necessary to carry out the provisions of the Act, and thus on October 1 for all of the purposes. So if you're a Nevada notary or you are an online notary serving Nevada, you may want to start targeting family law firms, adoption agencies, and the like for these new requirements to set yourself up as their go-to notary. And this is a great opportunity, guys, to not sell, but to educate and to position yourself as an expert in the notarial field. Next up, we have Oklahoma. Oklahoma Senate Bill 925, which became law without the governor's approval, seeks to address real property deed title fraud in the state of Oklahoma. Now, as many of you know, there is a deed fraud epidemic across the country. There are several provisions in the bill, but the one of interest to notaries is the ability of a victim of real property title theft to record a notice of fraudulent conveyance in the land records department stating the nature of the fraudulent conveyance. And this notice must be duly verified under oath, which typically requires a notary public to perform a verification on oath or affirmation or a jurat. So Oklahoma notaries, you may see this from time to time. I'm not saying you're going to see this a whole lot because it is a very specific act for specific types of property conveyance. But if you do see this, you will know exactly what to do. And, my hope is that you don't see this a lot because we don't want a lot of deed fraud going on. However, we do know that it is prevalent across the country. So this is one way that one state is giving property owners a way to fight back. Kudos to Oklahoma. Next up is Delaware. So Delaware House Bill 147 currently permits the non-probate transfer of bank accounts. Delaware already permits the non-probate transfer of bank accounts, investments, and vehicles. So this act provides a mechanism for the non-probate transfer of real estate without creating a revocable trust. This is done by permitting an owner of an interest in real estate to execute and record what is called a transfer on death deed, or otherwise known as a TOD deed, designating a beneficiary who will automatically receive the real estate on the owner's death without a probate procedure. During the owner's lifetime, however, the beneficiary of a TOD deed has no interest in the property, and the owner retains full power to transfer or encumber the property or to revoke the TOD deed in general. Now, there are many states that have TOD deeds in place. My state is one of them, New York, Illinois. A lot of the bigger states already have this. However, I will tell you in my experience of working with estate planning lawyers, they do not recommend TOD deeds because the beneficiary will then have a giant tax liability when the ownership of that property transfers, as opposed to if the property was already in the trust and then is going to a successor trustee, because in that case, the trust owns the property, not the individual. So Delaware notaries, you may see this. Online notaries serving in Delaware, you may see this. And notaries in other states that already have this, you may see this. It is typically what I would call a two-factor execution. It will require notarization and double witnessing, not one or the other, not one at one time and another time. So watch out for that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Last up, I just want to remind everyone that our next monthly roundtable will be this Thursday, 5 p.m. You'll get a reminder link the day of the event if you have already signed up. If not, go to calnotaries.org/events, and you can be added to that list. This month, we're going to talk about a few late session bills that were passed and were signed into law that are going to be effective in November and December. Also, we're going to dive into some case law. So this month we're going to talk about a notarial fraud case that happened here in San Francisco, where a notary found themselves with a $600,000 judgment against them. And so we're going to talk about what notarial fraud is and how you can avoid it and how you can let the public know what it is and how to avoid it. So I hope you guys will join us for that on Thursday. If you have a specific topic you'd like to discuss in one of our monthly roundtables, please feel free to reach out and let me know. Also, we have an open call for blog articles. If you saw the September newsletter, you saw that one of our SoCal members submitted a great article on how to handle signers that suddenly refuse to sign. And then next month, we have another article coming out from another SoCal notary whose journal proved to get them out of a really sticky situation and talking about that situation. So please feel free to join us for that. And that is all I have for today. Thank you for paying attention and getting informed.
Thank you so much, Matt. The work you do is so very important. I want to encourage all of you, whether you live in California or not, to please go check out the California League of Independent Notaries, CLIN.org, for all the information about Matt's community and to get involved. It is so important that we, as the notaries out here in the streets doing the work, have a voice. And Matt makes sure that that happens. And look at all those thumbs up for you, Matt. Thank you so much for your legislative update today. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, Jeanette is showing us how to get in line to have her question answered. So we are going to start with Jeanette in Michigan. Jeanette, what can we do for you today?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody.
Hey.
I was wondering if anybody else was having this concern of mine. I'm almost at 100 reviews, and
Eh.
usually I'll get a notice within a couple of hours, no more than a day, that someone has posted a review. But the last couple of times, the only way I know is I'm going to my Google page, my Google business page, and I see my number has moved up, and I'm constantly always checking my emails, my spam, and I'm not getting the notices um as quickly as I was before. And I was wondering if anybody else was having that issue.
Um, I can tell you what I have been made aware of, and that is they don't always email you when you have a review that pops up. Um, that has also been my experience. Matt, I saw you kind of
Yeah,
um,
they're
nodding
not
your head. Do you have
consistent.
some experience with this?
Yeah, they're not consistent. And they seem to only send notices for the lengthy reviews. If it's just a star review with no words, I don't tend to get a notice for that. So I'm not sure what their algorithm is, but I do agree it's not consistent.
Yeah, I don't know, Jeanette, that there's anything that you can actually do about that. You can try to reach out to Google. Just make sure you take your patience pill first, because you're going to be on that phone for a
Yeah.
while before you do. Now, does anybody have in the audience, does anybody have any information that might be able to help Jeanette? Please feel free to put that information in the chat. Um,
Jen, this is Jen. Can I just say something really quick?
yeah, of
This is
course.
for everybody. You guys should not be treating your Google business page like an afterthought. You should be checking into it like you check into Facebook, TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram. If you're checking it, you're not going to miss it because you should be updating it pretty often. So at least a couple times a week, you should be on your Google business page to update it. And in which case you're not going to miss those reviews. Take it out
Yeah.
of Google's hands. We are in charge of our business. So let's take ownership of that. It's going to just make your life a little bit easier. And it's going to make Google notice you a little bit more because you're more active.
Sound advice, Jen. Thank you for that. Does anybody else have any feedback for Jeanette with Google not being notified on Google reviews? Did you raise your hand back up, Jen? Oh, I think she was trying to put it down. So hopefully, I know we didn't really answer your question, but hopefully gave you a little peace of mind that it's not just happening to you, Jeanette?
I
Yes,
think
yes, yes.
Jennifer's,
Thank you for that. Because like Jen said, I'm constantly checking all the, and I've been doing better as far as my updates, and that's why I noticed my number moved up. And I thought
Yeah,
maybe, because I'm trying to almost at 100, they're trying to make it hard for me, but I see it's just not me. It's, everybody.
very common.
Not
Yeah.
just you. Yeah, definitely not just you, unfortunately.
And I think
Well,
Google gets excited when you're a new business and your reviews are coming in. So Google gets excited. That's why they share it. And then we're old hat at 150, 186 reviews. So yeah, just make it your priority to check it.
but can we all just stop and like, yay for Jeanette having almost 100 reviews?
Yeah.
Like, way to go, girl. I love it. That
Not,
is,
not 93, 7 to go.
ma'am,
I
I
can jump
love
on there a couple of comments. Yeah, we'll get you up there. That's
That's
awesome.
incredible. Yeah, that is incredible. That is the moral of that story. Keep getting those reviews whenever you can. Now, Laura, I see your hand up. I am going to go to Teresa Van Sant, who is having difficulty locating her raised hand button, and she had made given a message in the comments. So, Teresa, I know you have a question. If you want to unmic and tell
Yeah.
us what that is.
Hi.
Hey.
I received a call about a car that was they they were in California. They're buying a car from somebody in California, and there was a comment on the website about I have to have a fingerprint on a document, on an ID document. And Texas does not allow fingerprints, I know, in their journal. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that or not.
Laura?
so I got disrupted. Are you asking, can you collect it on a document? Because you cannot
Right.
collect them in the journal.
Exactly.
And is the document requiring it?
They said it was an ID document that may be included. I haven't received the documents yet, but they said it may be included that ID document where a thumbprint is required on it.
So here's my thought on it, is that you're not allowed to collect biometrics for your own journal where you're holding them. But if the document's requiring it and it's going back to whoever the customer is or the receiving agency, I don't think that law applies to that. However, saying that, that's the logic that I'm using. However, it would probably be best to check with your Secretary of State or your handbook to see if they can provide any clarity. But I believe it's about the collection of it for you. The notary is the issue. You're not allowed to hold the biometrics.
Agreed.
Yeah. As someone who is also, Teresa, a resident of the state of Texas, I can tell you the fingerprint law, like Laura said, the biometrics, which is one of those is considered a fingerprint. We cannot collect those in our journal. It doesn't mean that if the document requires it, we can't facilitate that. But if you're not an experienced collector of fingerprints, a fingerprinting technician, you may want to pass that job on to somebody who is, because you may or may not have, we don't necessarily have
Thumbprinter.
those tools. We don't have those tools at our
Yeah.
disposal as notaries in Texas because we can't put them in our journal. So it's not, it's not
And
allowed.
Alina, she's making a good point, is that when we do auto loans, auto purchases, there's an affidavit of identity on that one, and there is a thumbprint requirement on that. So if you're in Texas and you're processing, like for Maverick, those kinds of documents, there's going to be a requirement there. So you would have a thumbprinter just for that purpose because it's going on the document and it's going away to somebody else.
Teresa, does this help you at all? Oh, she is still on mute.
She's muted, yeah.
Yeah, she must
Okay.
be.
I don't
There
know
you
if I got muted. Anyway, can't you just use an ink pad and
Yeah.
okay. I can do that.
Yeah, but be careful because some ink pads, they'll have to grow out a new thumb to get that ink off of it.
Yeah.
So you want a thumb printer, the ink to be
Right.
inkless or easy to get off.
A stamp pad is not going to work because it'll just blow up altogether.
I had bought a little thumbprint pad whenever I first started doing this, and then I found out that you can't use them. So then I don't know what I did with it, but I can just order another one of them.
Yeah. And they are on Amazon too,
Yeah.
Teresa, that you
Right.
can find them for quick delivery purposes. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck. Good luck. Thanks for the question. And Laura has her hand raised. Hi, Laura. Remind us what state you're in.
Hi, everyone. I'm in California.
Yes. What's your question today?
Hi. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys may have any advice on this or not, or even simple advice, but I was out for about a month and a half. I was helping to take care of a loved one. I was out of state, so I was not doing any notary work for about a month and a half. And long story short, I'm ready to get back to work and need to get back to work. And I'm working on my direct, or I was before I left, working on my direct marketing more so than anything. And I was wondering if you thought, as far as like my online presence goes, if you thought it's a good idea just to jump back in and start, posting daily and just like, just getting back out there again, like quickly, I guess, and consistently, or should I like slowly ease my way back in? I don't know about the whole online presence thing when you've started and then you had to take a pause for a bit for, family circumstances and all of that. I don't know what to do.
Well, you obviously have a choice, but you know what works because you've done it before, right? So, my best advice to you is to pretend like you never took a moment away from your desk and you hop back in there, girl, like you were working yesterday and just pick up where you left off. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to wonder. And if they do, then that's engagement on a post or engagement on an email, and they can ask you directly, and that's what you're wanting, is for them to engage with you in some way. So I would just start right back up again, start posting. You can address the absence if you want, but you don't even have to. Nobody is thinking about it but you.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That's kind of what I was thinking. Thanks
Yeah.
for confirming that, Jen.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Yeah, nobody's going to even probably give it a second thought. Just get back on there, and do what you got to do. It's a great time to circle back to all of your title offices, Laura, because we are going to see a little uptick for the next 3 to 6 months in mortgages. Um,
Yeah.
Perhaps beyond. I don't, who knows yet, but it's a great time to get back out there and knock on doors. And what better time to do that than in the fall when it's so easy to come up with pop-ins and little leave behinds and gifts and things. So yeah, get
Yeah.
out there and you know what to do.
You're right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Sometimes we all need that, right? Like just get out there and do it. I
Yes.
We overcomplicate this stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We're always looking that's that resistance popping its ugly head up, but keep us posted on how things are going. And I'm glad you're back and engaged in your business.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Now, Drew, I see your hand up, but I want to just pause for a brief moment because our friend Jen Cooper in California is going to be bringing us, now that we're at the halfway point in the call, the no, what are we calling this? Notary tip of the
Tuesday
week.
tip. No,
Tuesday
Tuesday
tip.
tip,
Thank you. I
Jen.
completely blanked.
And we're going to call them Jen Cooper's Tuesday tips. Whatever we're going to call them, their tips for Tuesday. They're going to be short things that will help you guys out for different topics. But today's Tuesday tip is about your notary toolkit. Every notary should keep a basic set of tools ready to go. So at minimum, you need your official notary journal, whatever it is, And if you're using a digital journal, make sure you have a paper backup. Your notary stamp, a few good pens, always black or blue, ink as required by your state, a thumbprint pad if your state requires it, and keep your kit in one place so you're never scrambling before an appointment. A simple, organized bag toolkit makes you look professional, and it saves you stress when you're heading out the door. That's your Tuesday tip from Jen Cooper.
I love it,
Awesome.
Jen. Thank you so much. That is an excellent, excellent tip. I always have mine ready to go. Speaking of cool notary bags, wow, what a great segue, Drew. Drew actually won a contest inside the Marketing for Notaries community, and you won a really cool bag that you can keep ready to go for all your appointments. But you have a question for us, Drew. What is that?
Oh, actually, my question was for Jeanette. I was curious about what her approach was to getting clients to give her a review.
Oh, for Jeanette?
Yeah, if she's still on.
Jeanette, are
Yeah,
you still
I'm
there?
here. I'm here. I pretty much 90% of the time ask for a review. Sometimes I don't feel that, I should. I kind of go by that. And what I do, I have physical business cards, and on the back of them they have a QR code, and I always follow up after, my appointment with a text, like a receipt, saying receives, X amount of dollars. Thank you for your business. And then I always have a link to my Google page. So, it's worked, so far. And it's really been, I've been more aggressive in the last, I would say 3 or 4 months, and I'm getting, a good, at least I would say 60% of the ask, I get a review, so
That's
I
pretty
don't think that's,
good, Jeanette.
That's a great
That's a
turnaround.
good percentage. Yeah.
What what do you say to ask for the review, Jeanette?
well, at the end of the meeting, I have my cards in my bag, and I hand them, the card, and I kind of jokingly say, I only accept 5-star reviews, and that gives, a chuckle,
Yeah.
and and I just say I would appreciate, if I did a good job, if you would give me a review. And a lot of times, especially if I'm going to a situation with, a POA or whatever, it's really, I kind of feel it's really not, because they're already stressed, and I just don't want to add to that. But if it's just a calm situation, I will. But I have a tendency not to ask for them in stressful situation, even though I still leave a card. So,
Well, I think
you
that's
know,
really sound advice to ask for the review when you know it's going to be 4 or 5 stars and up only. There's no, if we're all human, we're not all of us are going to have perfect signings every single time, right, Laura? I mean, there's going to be situations where things go sideways. We're human. Maybe don't ask for those reviews. The ones you're going to get 4 and 5 reviews, those are the ones you really want to follow up with and push. And that has been a good theory, Drew. That's worked for me. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely does. Yeah,
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. 'Cause that's
can I
kind of where
just
I'm at now. As when I do, I usually do ask them, and instead of like holding them hostage, like I'm not leaving until you give me a 5-star. I don't want to do that, but and they're always like, yeah, I will. And I've got my QR on the back of my card, but it's to my link tree, so it's got all my social media, and it's got Google there, and it's got. I was like, if you can just go to Google, give me a 5-star review, I'd appreciate that. They're like, yeah, sure, I got you. And then
Yeah.
I leave with nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Can I just add one thing? I've only had 5-star review. I got one 4-star review, and I had the nerve to feel some kind of way. But at the end of the day, the lady actually didn't even use me. I forgot what happened, but she still sent me a 4-star review. So, like I said, don't do like me. And I didn't say anything to her, but I just felt, I don't know, some kind of way when I got that 4-star, but it was good. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't worry about the 4-star girl. That's still very good. So, Drew, how many reviews are you sitting at right now?
I think I've got like 8 or 9 so far.
And I just
So
want to say to everybody that Drew just started his business two months ago now, right?
yeah, July.
In July, yeah, August, September, okay, so almost 3 months now. So that is, you are on track again, following the 12 to 18 month rule,
Hmm.
right, of setting up a
Yeah,
business. You are on track to see Jeanette's kind of numbers um, when you hit that point. You just got to keep plugging away at it.
yeah. I've been doing like what she's trying to be a little bit more aggressive about asking for reviews. That's the only thing that's all because I post enough on my Google Business page where I'm pretty high up there. You know, people are starting to find me. The only people that are above me are the ones that have more that didn't pay for it, have more reviews.
Mhm.
And but I've looking at them, their last reviews are like a year ago, so they're not even worried about it anymore. So I think if I keep going, I can surpass them before they even
Absolutely.
know about it.
Of course you could. Of
Yeah,
course you could. You just have to be consistent and keep at it. And
yeah,
that is every single time that wins, right?
yeah,
That consistency wins over. And you're right. They probably have gotten a little complacent and they're not worried about it anymore. It's a great time for you to swoop in.
yeah.
Please go. Jen,
Yeah.
so one of the things I want to remind people, and Jim Allen says this all the time, it's not about how many reviews I have. It's the quality of the reviews that I have, and it's the frequency in which I get them. So I don't have 100 reviews. I don't ask every time. I pick and choose, and I probably get about a 90, 95%. They do it for me when I ask. So I'm very choosy. But what I do make sure is that every month I've got one or two, one or
Yeah.
two, one or two. And when I ask people how you found me and they mention my reviews, they say what they said in the reviews is what made them choose me. Not that I had this many reviews, but what
Hmm.
was said in the review about my service. So I want everyone to remember it's not about a race to get to 500. It's about getting quality reviews that you get continually from month to month. So they're not a year old, they're not 6 months old. I think those are the key attributes to making those reviews effective. And
Okay.
Laura,
you'll have a higher return rate on your ask if you're asking on those appointments when you feel really good about it.
Okay.
that is
Awesome.
an excellent reminder for all of us. It's not about that number. It's about being consistent and getting them that they are up to date and current. Love that advice. Thank you, Laura. And thanks for the question,
Yeah.
Drew. Great
Yeah.
question. Okay, Helena, remind me what state you're in.
Hi, I'm from California,
California. Okay,
Los
what's your
Angeles
question?
County area, Los Angeles County. I want to ask a question because I'm in this notary business as a career. I retired and this is a new career path for me. And so when I purchased all of my notary supplies, including my stamp and everything else, I also included a loan signing agent course. But now that I'm finding that a lot of the loan signing companies like SnapDocs, they're asking for the National Notary Association signups
Mhm.
and certifications. I'm kind of leery. I just didn't know what the path would be because I already have that, but it's through the notary rotary. And I am a member of the National, Notary Association, but I just found out about it, afterwards.
Mhm.
So what is my step? Because am I going to come across this a lot that many are going to ask for the national notary? I mean, because I could sign up for it. Is this what I am to expect?
Laura?
Yes, you can expect that, especially in the loan signing world. There's two that are pretty much recognized. Sterling is one and the NNA is the other one. So if you want national recognition, so you don't have to keep doing another one every time, get it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
No notes on that advice, Helena. She's absolutely right. Yes, you are going to see that in the loan signing world.
Okay.
Um, if you operate in the estate planning world, that doesn't, none of that matters on that side. This is just for the loan signing world. But I want to just compliment you, Helena, on how you started that um, line of questioning, declaring to everybody on this call that this is your career path and that you are in this to win it. And I love that for you. That just made my soul smile. That tells me that you got that fire in your belly and you're going to be a success. So congratulations on getting your business started. All right. My friend Kristen out in San Diego has a question for us. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Yep, Kristen here in San Diego. So I'm curious about steps you guys would take in a situation where you receive an inquiry about doing a loan closing for a client in your local area from an attorney state, specifically about payment. So if someone finds me and I don't know who they are, haven't worked with them, I'm a little bit more cautious, and my policy is really to be paid up front when I don't know who you are. I've never worked with your business before. How do you guys, how do you deal with that with attorney offices that are representing the signer, because they basically cannot pay until the deal is funded? And I said, well, could you at least, send me an email, basically just, agreeing to the fee, and like, we can't do that either. So have you guys come across that, and how would you resolve that if it's somebody you've never worked with before and you're nervous to work with them? Because I've, had instances where I haven't been paid before, not often, but I'm just not as comfortable because I haven't worked with them and I don't know who they are. And they're out of state, so they're not like I'm meeting them, because I don't collect payment up front usually at all. Like, it's either through a relationship, people book me online, maybe they pay in advance, it's not required, but I usually collect payment when I get in front of the person. I don't have an issue about that. But when it's somebody out of state, what would be your recommendation?
I think like any job, I need written confirmation, and
Yeah.
they better be showing me a law that says they cannot send me an email saying that they're
Yeah.
hiring me to perform a certain action, and they don't have to disclose the client yet and how much the agreed amount is and for what the purpose is, and that is something you would have that would have their contact information on it. So if anything goes south later, you've got something to work with for a demand letter.
Yeah.
And if they refuse that, I would say they're not my customer.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been having a few law firms find me on Notary Rotary, and they just, that's the hiccup, unfortunately. So,
but I'm not having that problem, so there must not be a law, right? What I'm saying is that when I get a phone call from an attorney's office who's representing whoever it is, I say, you know what, if we've worked it out verbally, I say, would you just send me a confirmation so I have your information? Tell me say what it is I'm doing for you and the fee that we have agreed to. And I do not need to collect money until after I have confirmed we are finished, meaning I've got a tracking number for you or whatever it is. I have never had an attorney's office tell me they cannot do that, ever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe it's just the few that have called me. But yeah, I offered that same thing with having them send me an email, but they didn't want to do it. So anyhow, all right. Well, I appreciate the feedback. I'm driving, or else I'd be on camera. Thank you so much.
Kristen, for the question. I appreciate it.
Jen, can I say something to this, Kristen? If you're having this happen more than once, Kristen, this is Jen Cooper, I would put a policy in place for yourself, and maybe even put it on your website so it's referable. Like, you could say, I understand your policy, but my policy is this, and you can see that here on my website. I would love to work with you. We just need to have this agreement. If it's happening more than once, if I have something happen to me at least 4 times, a policy goes into place. So I have something to send them too. So maybe just something.
Okay, thank you,
Jen. And I know Matt also has something he wants to add.
Everything sounded great until you said they won't agree to a confirmation email, which really surprises me, because in most states, attorneys are required to send a letter of engagement to their clients. So I don't know why
New
they're
York, by the
refusing
way.
it. Yeah, that surprises
New York.
me.
You're
That
curious.
really surprises me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't see why they couldn't just send like a letter of intent saying that they intend to utilize this.
Exactly. That's exactly actually the language I use. Can you just send me a letter of intent, like just saying you're confirming the appointment with the fee? And they're like, sorry, we don't, that's not our process. I said, well, it's not my process to
Not
work
my
with someone.
process.
Yeah.
Not your problem.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you.
I mean, so Jen Cooper put this in the chat, but she's absolutely right. Not everyone is our ideal client. Not everyone is on the up and up. And if your gut is telling you this isn't right, chances are it probably isn't.
Yeah.
Which is the advice I have, I learn over and over again. Trust your gut, right? Okay, we have another question from Baptiste Notary Plus LLC. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, this is Sharon. I'm sorry, I'm driving.
Oh, hey,
Sharon
Sharon.
from Michigan. Hello. I was calling to find out. I did a what is it called again? A seller's opening package, and now after I've done it, it's completed. But then they send me some documentation asking me to get like $100,000 of insurance. Is that normal?
They're asking you after you've performed all the signing ceremonies to send a copy of your E&O insurance for at least $100,000. I just want to make sure I
Yeah.
have yeah. Yes, that can be normal if they don't have it on file. Most title companies do want to have that. Do you have $100,000 worth of E&O?
No, I just have the minimum.
Then
And
you
that's
send
I
them
was
what you have and say, listen, you hired me with that. Just say, this is what I have. And I don't think you need to make an excuse for that. I don't think you need to say you should have told me beforehand. You just say, here's my errors and omissions policy for you to keep on file, and period. Let it, if they come back and say you need to have $100,000, your response can be, nobody told me that when they assigned me the job.
Right.
So, I mean, assuming that this company had your credentials on file, obviously they
yeah,
did.
they found me through signing order. Fidelity, National Title Group. I think that's the name of it.
So Fidelity is the largest title underwriter in the entire country. And you definitely don't want to get on their bad side, okay? You said, like I said, the best way I think, and Matt, Laura, Jen, please chime in if you think differently. But I think the best way to handle it is just to forward them what you have, period. If they wanted something different, they should have said to you when they hired you.
Okay.
But I will make a recommendation, and that is Fidelity. If you have the potential to be getting work from them directly, it's worth having $100,000 E&O policy.
Okay.
And you can always upgrade it.
Okay. So maybe they want me to upgrade so they can use me more. Is that what you're saying?
Could be, yeah.
Or title
and you-
companies will use you as well, because that's the standard.
It is a standard, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, the $25,000 policy, I think that comes with the E&O through the NNA. When it comes to title and escrow, just really isn't cutting it anymore. You've got to have at least 100,000 in your E&O.
Yeah. If you want to work direct.
If you want to work direct, yes. If you want to work direct with title companies, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you guys very much. That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, you want to get that Fidelity business. That's a good business to have. Well, Laura, can you do me a favor and tell everyone how they can connect with you outside of this call, because you have a very cool thing on Saturday mornings happening.
I would love to. Thanks for asking. So guys, if you are interested in purposeful practice, also known as deliberate practice, then I would love to see you on Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Matt's on that call with me, and we answer notary skill questions specifically. Sometimes marketing can come up, but really this is more focused on becoming a more confident and competent notary. So if that interests you, then you can register for Laura's Inner Circle on my website, coachmelora.com. Also, if you need a private consult, because whatever you want to ask, you feel uncomfortable in a group setting, then you can reach out to me and just schedule with my calendar directly. And that's calendly.com/my last name, Bewer.
It's a pretty sweet deal to get 15 minutes of your time. You know, they call her the GOAT, and it's for a reason, guys. So I do want to make a final, or not a final announcement, but another announcement before we wrap up today. And that is, if you are on this call and you are not a certified notary trust delivery agent, Laura and I did something a little crazy at our last webinar, and we lowered the price to $199, which is $100 off the retail. But that expires tonight at midnight. So if you are interested in becoming a certified notary trust delivery agent, there will be a link in the chat for you to pick it up and run with it, guys. You don't need a special code. You don't need a coupon. All you got to do is join at the link that Jen's going to put in the chat for you, and the price will be $199. So we wanted to celebrate our new community that we have over on the school platform, which has just been so much fun to have for all of our CNTDAs. Such great advice and relationships already happening over there. Okay, I don't see any more hands up. So I am going to go to our question prompt that is from our list of questions that you guys submit to us, and this is one of my favorite topics because I love to geek out on brain science. But the question was, the voice in my head is always telling me I'm not good enough. Is there a way to change that so I feel secure in what I'm doing? Now, first of all, I want you guys to be honest, no judgment. This is a safe space. Who else feels that way? Because I'm gonna have to put a 1 in the chat for myself. Put a 1 in the chat if you kind of feel that way too. Like sometimes you're just not good enough or you don't deserve to have success. And oh my gosh, okay, so I'm not alone. I see all of you guys are feeling that way too. Um, that's a real thing. That is a real thing that can stand in our way. And that question really stuck out to me because I know from my coaching experience that everybody goes through this at some point in their journey through entrepreneurism. What we do every day is really freaking hard, and it is not for the weak. And it is perfectly normal to be sitting there thinking, I'm not good enough. In fact, it's so normal. Um, your brain is wired that way. Your brain is wired to lead with negative thoughts as a protective mechanism. One of the cool things that I wrote about in the book that we talked about at the top of this call, the chapter 4 is entirely dedicated to understanding fear. So if you're in a situation where you are feeling like I'm not good enough, I can't have success, I want you to take some of this necessary steps to help fix that, because the cool thing about the human brain is it can be rewired to think differently. You are not stuck in that thought, that holding pattern. I promise you, if you start interrupting these negative thoughts with something a little more positive, something a little more reinforcing about the goodness that you also have in you, your brain will start to change. I am living proof of that. I put this into practice myself with affirmations and visualizations. And my favorite trick, which is, this is a very technical term, so hang on to your hats. Hopefully you guys can digest this. I name that bitch that lives in my head, and when she starts to speak up, I tell her, no ma'am. Her name is Tina. I don't like Tina. Tina can be a real giant bitch. Sorry if that word offends you. But I literally will stop, and I write a lot, I write about this in the book. I will stop and say, no, Tina, no, I am worthy. I have earned where I am. I have earned my position here. I am allowed to be proud about my business. I'm allowed to be loud about it. I'm allowed to tell everybody about it. And you just shut yourself up and sit down because I'm in the driver's seat. And with practice, as funny as it sounds, with practice, you will notice that, and I notice this all the time, and it still catches me by surprise when I don't instantly have a negative thought right off the bat because I've retrained this gray matter up here. It doesn't mean that negative thought doesn't happen. What it does mean is, I mean, I'm not walking around just, singing and dancing and positivity all day. Believe me, I'm not. But when those negative thoughts creep in, I now have the tools and the ability to say, no, 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 we're not ruining my day. That's not going to happen, Tina. And I can feel the pattern switching in my head. So it works. So if you are feeling that way, I would encourage you look into understanding how fear works. At the very least, pick up the book, read chapter 4. If you go subscribe to my website, marketingfornotaries.com, you get chapter 4 for free just for subscribing to the website. And it's going to tell you all about fear so that you can understand it. Because when you understand something, then you can work through it, right? If you don't understand it, you're always going to feel that negativity. So hopefully, whoever submitted that question, obviously those are all anonymous, that gives them some place to go and start. Because Laura always talks about deliberate practice as a notary, but when it comes to retraining the gray matter up here, it is also
Yeah.
deliberate practice. And it's something that I've been doing now for years, and it's a practice I will always maintain because I feel better. And
Yeah.
and I like that. And I like that. So we have time for one more question, and my friend Carol in Florida has her hand up. Hey, Carol.
Hey, boy, did I come on at the right time. I came in at the very end because I was just on a phone with an estate planning attorney. But it's so interesting you mentioned the fear because of the conversation that you and I had the other day because of what's going on with my face. And I go under the knife tomorrow morning for some plastic surgery. And I was very worried about being in front of somebody. So I had a notary appointment today
How'd it
with
go?
one of my estate planning attorneys, and it was all my fear was for naught, as you knew, but it is real.
Mhm.
And I had to be able to face it and address it
Yeah.
because I'm thinking I was more concerned about the other person, what they're thinking, more so maybe than me, but it gets yourself screwed up.
Mhm.
And so I went in, I had a lovely lady that I did a notarization for, and she comes back and forth for Spain. And we had a great conversation. And at the end, I always give a little packet to them. And she goes, I need your card. So all that fear I had, we didn't talk about this. It wasn't anything. I think I said something about that the attorney had thrown he has a dog, he has a little puppy dog in there. And I said, yeah, he caught me with one of the puppy dog toys and hit my nose. And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And it was a huge relief off my shoulders to know that nobody cares.
And you had
That
to go through that.
nobody, but I had to go through it.
You had to go through that
And
to
I think
understand.
that's what you're trying to say is go face it, go through it,
Yes.
figure it out. It's real. And I know I've done a lot of signings with this guy. You know, David's more concerned about me, the estate plan. He goes, oh, Carol, I'm so sorry you're having to go through all that, da da da. Because he knows what's going on.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow, the client didn't even bat an eyelash, didn't say anything. It was a great signing, and we
And you
went
wouldn't
on.
have believed me if I told you that. You would not
No, I would
believe.
not have believed you. Well, even after we spoke the other day, I had still some doubts in my head.
Sure. Of
And
course.
I'm not it's amazing how you know your stuff. I think that's the other thing. You know your stuff, you just doubt yourself, but you do know it.
Yeah.
And when you're in front of a group or you're in front of somebody and you can talk with them, because I just got off on a phone with an estate planning attorney group that wants to do remote online notarizations but doesn't know anything about it.
Nice.
So I had to explain to him. So you know your if you know your material, and the first signing you do, it's gonna feel awful. You're gonna have it is. And I thought I would feel bad today. I just went. I thought, nope, I'm in a great shape to do the signing for him. And it went just fine.
Good for you. I'm so proud of you that
So thank you. Because it was, I mean, it was weighing, it was weighing.
Oh yeah. But you did the one thing that has been proven that you can do, proven by research and science that you can do to push through the fears, and that is face it head on and walk through it. Action is the only way through fear. And what an incredible way to end another Tuesday Notary Titans. Now, you guys know we have a little running joke where I always put Laura on the spot to close out the TNT hour. So, Laura, will you send us off with some of your awesome wisdom for the week?
Yeah, I have two, but one relates more with where we ended. And that is when that issue of fear or anger, what any strong emotion that's preventing me from moving forward, I make an appointment to feel that later. So that means I take the action now and I say, it's okay if I'm feeling angry or fearful, whatever it is, I'm going to make an appointment for that at 4 o'clock. And then at 4 o'clock, I'm going to do whatever it is I need to do at that time. And it just frees me up to then take the actions that are needed. Not to deny I have those feelings, just say there's a better time for me to explore that. Now isn't it? So
that's great
that's
advice.
it.
Have a fabulous week, you guys. We will see you next Tuesday on Tuesday Notary Titans. Bye.